global warming caused to climate change, climate variation, even the extreme event affect to our life. They need together to consider about how we could adapt to climate change. Again, I would like to emphasize this is the first time for Thailand to pledge. We pledge that we will reduce
Sathitkunarat, welcome to Thailand. Today I'm Kusmayo Tasbat as your host. The 21st meeting of the Conference of the Parties United Nations Framework Contribute Climate Change or UNFCCC in Paris agreed a landmark accord last Saturday, setting the course for a historic transformation of the world's fossil fuel-driven economy within the decades in a bid to arrest global warming, according to the Reuters said. A jubilant French foreign minister reportedly said, "With a small hammer, you can achieve great things." A loud applause and results to the delegation from almost 200 nations. Despite the euphoria and optimism, questions remain on what has slipped away and what needs to be done. Thailand today will speak to Dr. Surachai Sathitkunarat. He is Director of the Energy and Environment Department, the National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy Office (STI) about the UNFCCC 21. So global warming and effects on our lives. Please welcome Dr. Surachai Sathitkunarat, Director of the Energy and Environment Department, National Science and Technology and Innovation Policy Office or STI. We are talking about global warming today, which you're in charge of. First of all, how serious is the global warming? I'm caring about Thailand, so we'll start off with Thailand first.
In fact, global warming seems to far away from our life, but in fact it's should close to our life because it's connect to climate change, and also it is just connect to trade, and I mean not only environment, because global warming caused to climate change, climate variation, even the extreme event affect to our life every day. And as you may aware, some mechanism or some means use trade mechanism to reduce greenhouse gas emission or climate change effect, like the carbon neutral or carbon footprint, for example.
Well, this seems to be technology because we have a Director of Energy and Environment Department to talk about this because you are mainly concerned on the global warming. So, some people really don't take it seriously. They think that it is not true. Is there any such thing of the global warming? What is the effect of that?
First of all, definitely, some people argue in this information, but most of scientists around the world, from the scientific information, from the historical data, record that the rise of temperatures after pre-industrial level is highly increased after that, and we found that the cause of climate change is from greenhouse gas. Greenhouse gases, because it's many greenhouse gases for climate change. It quite affect to our life, as I mentioned it earlier. For example, in the near future, if Thailand, as we committed to international forum, we need to reduce our greenhouse gases emission. It might, no, it not. It might. It shall affect to industrial process. In industrial sector, it might affect to agricultural sector. Like this we might need to change or modify the process or the method how we plant our rice, for example. This is like close to our country.
But you said that we have to really go into it. So what do we do? How to reduce this, Director?
In fact, in the international forum, we developing country.
Okay.
In our previous time, we don't need to reduce the greenhouse gas, but we need to reduce as a voluntary. Yeah.
Okay.
But after Paris Agreement, we must reduce our greenhouse gas emission from the Paris Agreement. It is a legal binding. So if even though we don't want to reduce our greenhouse gas by reduce some activity to emit greenhouse gas, like from industry, like from agriculture sector.
For industry, they should reduce production.
Yeah. Yes.
And then
they need to change the conventional fuel. For example, they use some oil.
Okay.
They use some fossil fuel. They must change to renewable fuel.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, and for example, in agricultural sector,
yes,
as I mentioned it earlier, farmer might change their practice to produce the agricultural goods, for example. If we don't want to act like that, but we need to adapt it because our customer, like our customer from some country, they might regulate some regulation to accept only the products which less greenhouse gas, for example. So we need to adapt because we are exporter.
We are exporter. We consider even if we are a developing country, but we are considered to be an exporter country.
Yes. One thing I would say for the climate change negotiation, this is not only environmental concern. It is commercial and trade negotiation also.
I see.
That's why developed countries, many developed countries, even big developing countries like China or India, very concerned in this negotiation because it's affect to
production.
Its production, its economic growth.
Okay.
I would say.
So when you talk about the Paris conference, I mean the whole world were there. Can you flash back to what the agreement was made at that period of time?
Yes, allow me to return to a conference of the parties at the first time at they convened the conference. This is a convention under United Nations.
Yes.
This is a conference of the parties to UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This is a member of United Nations. We and almost country are the member of the United Nations. So they need to gather together to consider about how we could adapt to climate change, how we could reduce greenhouse gas. This is activity under conference of the parties. This time, this is a 21st conference of conference of the parties to the UNFCCC. This is a COP21. If you remember, in COP15 in Copenhagen, this is like the big event for that time. I remember because I was there. I was there. I remember. I think many leaders in the world, in particular, large countries, were there. So they try to make agreement together, but that time it seems to fail from we call Copenhagen Accord.
Okay.
But it's not a good feeling for a country who participate in that.
What happened actually?
In fact, as I remember, we as a negotiator, we try to draft the agreement, to draft a decision for the high level to make a decision late in this year.
Yes, sir.
But at that time, as I remember, our draft did not agree by a high level. So that time they tried to modify our draft. So if you remember, at that time, some country, in particular small country or small Iceland country or least developed country, try to make an argument in the Copenhagen Accord. But on the other hand, it contrasts in this year. If you see, in this year, I think every country no agreement in Paris Agreement.
Okay.
Every country
agreed on that.
Yeah, agree on this agreement for I think two main reasons for agreement of every country. The first one, this is the first time for every country agree to keep temperatures. I mean, global surface temperatures to increase below 2 degrees. 2 degrees compared with pre-industrial level. But try to they use pursue effort to keep it within 1.5 degrees Celsius. Also, it means they try as much as they can
to adjust it.
Yeah. And the second one of the success results of agreement is developed countries in next 10 years. They committed to help or to support developing countries by provide $100 billion a year to developing countries to help them to two things: adapt to climate change and mitigate or reduce the greenhouse gas emission in every country. I would say one thing in climate change forum, we separate two parts. The first one, adaptation. It means how we could adapt to climate change. And second part is mitigation. It means how we could reduce the greenhouse gas emission. But the means or the tools or the mechanisms to adapt to climate change and to reduce the greenhouse gas in climate change, it needs technologies. It needs know-how. Even we have a finance, even we have a budget, but it could not happen if we don't have know-how and technology.
Yes.
My point is, technologies or know-how is the key success factor to adapt to climate change or to reduce the greenhouse gas.
But you said that because there's a budgeting that being provided quite a lot to the developing country.
Yes.
So why can't they meet to the standard that the meeting wanted it?
In fact, in the view of developing countries like us, Thailand is a small country. We gather with our group we call G77 and China. In fact, it's many countries, more than 100 countries together to negotiate with developed country. In fact, we need finance now, but developed countries try to make sure how we, developing country, how we use the finance or the budget as they provided efficiently, how we could reduce the greenhouse gas, how we could adapt to climate change. That's why the budget could be happen in next 10 years.
Oh, what could that?
Yeah.
Wow, it took such a long time to do
Yeah,
that.
but
How
it
about-
need time to collect because it's the huge money. But in fact, I would say for Thailand, for example, I would like to emphasize on technologies.
Okay.
We, as my organization, Thailand National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy Office, or STI,
STI, yes.
we act as a national focal point for technology development and transfer under this convention, under UNFCCC. The formal name of focal point is National Designated Entity, or NDE. This is national focal point who work with the global focal point, namely Climate Technology Center and Network, or CTCN. Yes, this is
CTCN,
quite
yes.
this is quite a concrete or substantial mechanisms under UNFCCC because of for the technology development and transfer. Since last few years, UNFCCC established we call technology mechanisms. Technology mechanism consists of Climate Technology Center and Network. This is a global center which will work with the national designated entity, like the
hand in hand.
Yeah, like the national focal point. We have just submitted our request or our proposal, 6 requests or 6 proposals to the CTCN.
What are they?
Yes, we separated 2 parts for adaptation.
Yes.
We submitted 3 requests.
Okay.
There are one in brief.
Okay.
Technology in
Yes.
agricultural sector. We try to focus on precision farming.
Precision farming.
Yes, and the second one, we want to obtain the knowledge and technology on climate modeling. We try to, in technical, we try to downscale the climate prediction in the future. We want to know in our our district or our tambon or sub-district, we want to know what could be happening in the future.
Of course,
so we
yes.
need some modeling. We need a high performance computer. We need some technical assistance to make Thailand can forecast exactly in the future. This is the second proposal. Last but not least, in adaptation, we submitted, we request early warning system in flood for our capital, for Bangkok.
Bangkok, yes.
Yes, we want to obtain technology to assist us to make our early warning system better than today in our capital city. This is the adaptation side.
Yes.
For mitigation side, I mean the mitigation means how to reduce the greenhouse gas emission in Thailand. It consists of 3 requests also. The first one, we try to focus on building sector, how we could reduce or to make the energy consumption in building sector more efficiently. This is a focus on building sector. And the second one, we want to know the amount or the quantity of the greenhouse gas emission in our in Thailand metal industry, because we want to know what is the benchmarking, what is the baseline, what is the quantity amount of greenhouse gas in this sector. And it's not just only want to know how much or how many. If we know the amount or the quantity of the greenhouse gas emission in metal industry, and we could recommend some technology to reduce the greenhouse gas in metal industry. And last but not least, for mitigation sector, we submitted requests we try to obtain technology on public lighting. You know, in our municipalities is they use public lighting. That we try to find some efficient way to reduce the public lighting uses.
Lighting?
Yes, public lighting.
Lighting.
Yeah.
Which is coming up when the light comes and goes.
Yes. That's why as we are developing countries, not only adaptation side, we try to mitigate greenhouse gas also, because this is the first time, as you mentioned earlier, for Thailand, as our Prime Minister has just pledged in COP21. Again, I would like to emphasize this is the first time for Thailand to pledge.
COP21,
we pledge that we will reduce our greenhouse gases emission in the range 20 to 25%.
So the range is 20-25. That's enough. This is sufficient to do something that show off our capability of reducing it. Right?
I think we could achieve this target. In fact, for the international forum, they need more. They need more. But we must consider our situation or our circumstance, because we need to care about our industrial sector, our agricultural sector. You know, if we commit more, it will affect to our economic growth, definitely. So we need to consider two sides. You know,
two ways.
And one thing I would say, from Paris Agreement, even they commit to keep increasing of temperature, of global temperature under 2 degrees Celsius. But from scientific information, from calculation of the scientists, based on pledges of every country who pledged to
the United Nations.
It could exceed than 2 degrees. It is approximately 3 degrees or 3.5 degrees Celsius. So United Nations urge every country pledge more than they used to pledge to United Nations.
Well, very interesting, and we have much more to learn, much more to know, because we love to see how it progressed, Doctor. And you please do come back and tell us more about it, because this is such a very important topic for the rest of us, for the world.
So I'm happy to say.
Thank you, Sathil. We have Dr. Surachai Sathitkunarat here, and to talk about environment awareness. So we hope you all giving hand, each of us.
Sure.
Thank you very much for being here. ขอบคุณค่ะ Thailand Today would like to thank Dr. Surachai Sathitkunarat, Director of the Energy and Environment Department in the National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy Office (STI), for sharing his insightful views of the United Nations FCCC21 conference and its implications to the world and our lives. Thank you for watching Thailand Today. I'm Kusuma Yothas. Hope to see you again tomorrow. สวัสดีค่ะ